The alarm rang for the fifth time, 6:45 a.m., the sunlight hit the blinds. But inside his small apartment in Chicago, Ethan Cole just stared at the ceiling, wide awake yet exhausted. His desk overflowed with half-finished notebooks, unpaid bills, and sticky notes with words like focus, discipline, do better. He'd written them weeks ago when he promised himself he'd turn his life around. But every morning played the same scene. He'd wake up determined, make coffee, sit at his desk, open his laptop, and within minutes find himself scrolling one video, one notification, one distraction at a time. Hours would disappear into nothingness. Then came the guilt, the shame, the voice whispering, "You're just lazy." Ethan wasn't lazy. He was tired not physically, but mentally. At 29, he'd been through 3 jobs in 5 years. Once passionate about writing, he now couldn't even bring himself to finish an email. The more he forced himself, the heavier it felt. Every day became a cycle of effort, exhaustion, and self-hatred. It all began after he lost his dream job at a media startup during company downsizing. What started as a short break became months of procrastination. His bills piled up, his sleep schedule collapsed, and his motivation evaporated. He'd tell himself, "Tomorrow I'll start fresh," but tomorrow always came carrying the same weight. One evening, while scrolling through videos on his phone, Ethan came across a clip titled, "Your brain doesn't hate work, it just hates boredom." Curious, he clicked. A calm voice spoke, "The problem isn't that you're unmotivated. It's that your brain isn't getting dopamine from the right things. You're not lazy, you're misaligned. You can rewire it using something called dopamine anchoring." Ethan paused the video. Dopamine anchoring. He replayed the part again. The speaker explained, "Pair something unpleasant with something pleasurable. For example, listen to your favorite podcast while working out, or drink your favorite coffee while doing hard work. Over time, your brain will start to associate pleasure with effort." For some reason, that struck him deeply. It wasn't about forcing himself to grind harder, it was about changing what his brain connected with pain and reward. He spent years trying to push himself forward when, maybe, he needed to pull his brain in a new direction. That night, he made a plan. Not a big one, just a small, almost silly experiment. He would write for 30 minutes every morning while listening to his favorite instrumental playlist and sipping his favorite vanilla coffee. No pressure. No self-hate. Just pairing something good with something he had once loved but lost. The next morning, he tried. It wasn't perfect. He wrote only 2 paragraphs. But for the first time in months, he didn't feel drained afterward. He felt something small but real satisfaction. His brain, almost quietly, whispered, "Do it again tomorrow," and he did. Then the next day, then the next week. Slowly, the impossible began to feel natural. Weeks passed. Ethan's small dopamine experiment turned into a routine. He noticed something fascinating. The same act that once drained him now energized him. His brain started craving that 7 a.m. writing session. But something else began stirring beneath the surface, the question of why. One morning, while journaling, he wrote a single sentence that changed everything. "I want to help people who feel stuck like I once did." That thought hit him like lightning. For the first time, his writing had direction, not just words on a page but purpose behind them. He realized he wasn't just rebuilding his habits, he was rebuilding his identity. He started a small blog where he wrote about neuroscience-based motivation, how the brain works, how to rewire habits, how to find joy in progress. At first, no one read it. Then one night, a post titled "How I Stopped Hating My To-Do List" went viral on LinkedIn. Thousands of comments poured in. People said things like, "This is exactly how I feel, and I thought I was just lazy too." Ethan spent that entire night reading messages from strangers who shared their own struggles with burnout and procrastination. For the first time in years, he didn't just feel useful, he felt alive. From that point, dopamine anchoring wasn't just a trick for productivity, it became his philosophy for living. He began applying it everywhere. He paired long walks with podcasts that inspired him. He turned cleaning his apartment into a mindfulness exercise. He even taught his nephew to study by turning flashcards into a game with rewards. Every small act became an anchor. Every anchor built momentum, and momentum, once started, became unstoppable. By the end of the year, Ethan wasn't just working again, he was thriving. He built a small online business teaching others how to rewire their motivation using the same principles that saved him. His life hadn't gotten easier, his brain had simply redefined what hard meant. In one of his talks, he said, "I used to think motivation was about discipline, about forcing myself to do things I didn't want to do. But I learned that the real secret is to make your brain want to do them. You don't fight your biology, you train it. And when you pair pleasure with purpose, you'll never have to chase motivation again." Ethan's story wasn't about overnight success or sudden breakthroughs. It was about rewiring slowly, patiently, intentionally. It was about learning that progress doesn't have to feel like punishment, that joy can live inside effort, and that purpose multiplies everything the brain rewards. Because the truth is, motivation isn't something you find, it's something you build. And sometimes, all it takes to begin is a cup of coffee, a favorite song, and a reason that matters enough to keep you coming back, even when it's hard.